ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Colton Rice Show. And now, here's your host, Colton Rice. Hello everybody, welcome to the Colton Rice Show, the podcast where I almost didn't want to do the show today because I was extremely lazy, but I got my lazy butt up, and I'm here. So yeah, hello everybody, welcome to another crazy show. Even though it's not going to be really crazy, it's going to be, informative today. A little bit informative, but So, pretty sure you saw the title of the show and probably saw the description of the show. We got 4 topics to talk about today, and they all just came out just before the show started, basically like a day before the show started. So yeah, let's get down to business then and talk about these topics. So the first topic of the day is McDonald's. They're pretty good. They've got so many delicious burgers and, other fast foods in their menu. And Burger King is also good. But which one is better? McDonald's or Burger King? Well, I'm about to end this discussion. This discussion has been going on for, as long as, these two have been, in business. So, I'm just going to tell you straight up which one is better. And basically just tell you, which items are better than, each other restaurant's items, So basically, here's how it's going to go. It's going to go which burgers are better, which fries are better, which sodas are better, because I can taste the difference in soda, and which chicken nuggets are better, and then which one is better overall. So we're going to start off with burgers. McDonald's, they're known for their, Big Mac. Pretty delicious, burger. 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. If you don't know the ingredients of a Big Mac, then you just need to stop and go get yourself a Big Mac, because Big Macs are delicious, juicy, flavorful. It's like it's made from God himself. Seriously, it is a burger that God himself made, and then you take a bite of it and it's like boom, it's delicious. It is freaking delicious. Now the Whopper, it's pretty good, unless you get it with cheese, because if you just ask for a Whopper, you're not gonna get any cheese. You have to ask, can I get a Whopper with cheese? Because the Big Mac, it already comes with cheese. But for the Whopper, you have to ask them, like, hey, can I get a Whopper, and can you put cheese on that and stuff? Like, seriously. You have to ask for cheese, because if you just get the Whopper plain, it's just another hamburger, with lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles, that kind of stuff. And it's just plain. Just absolutely plain. That's why you must ask with cheese. And the Whopper with cheese, it's okay, but it still doesn't, taste all that great. Like, I like the Whopper, but it could use a few little, adjustments to the recipe of the, the burger itself. Mainly put some, spices or herbs on that burger patty, that patty burger. Because that's what I would do if, if I can't get, the flame broiledness out of it. Like, when I bite into a Whopper, the flame broil, you can really taste the flame broil on that Whopper. And I'm like, yep, that's a flame broiled Whopper. Because they flame broil their burgers, not put them on a grill. They flame broil them, like, cook them in the fires and stuff and all that crazy stuff. They basically cook it with fire, so obviously it's gonna taste like fire. Kinda. But yeah. Now, McDonald's cheeseburgers, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. But the thing is, like, they have just like onions, cheese, and like ketchup. That's the only ingredients for the McDonald's cheeseburger. But for Burger King's cheeseburger, oh my god. It's cheese, ketchup, mustard, I think maybe onions or pickles, I can't remember, but man, do they hit you with a bunch of mustard. Like, seriously, I took one bite of a Burger King cheeseburger, and I was just hit by so much of the mustard, I couldn't barely taste the rest of the cheeseburger. I wasn't even convinced that I ate any food. Like, I convinced myself I just ate a bottle of mustard for no apparent reason. Like, seriously, imagine if you went to, like, I don't know, maybe like a Columbus Clippers game or a Cleveland Guardians baseball game. And say you order a hot dog and you want some mustard on it. And they just douse the hot dog with a bunch of mustard on it. And you can't taste the hot dog. You basically are eating mustard. Like a big old hot dog bun full of mustard. I almost said hamburger bun, don't know why, but I meant hot dog bun. You just eat like a freaking hot dog bun filled with mustard, and you're like, why am I doing this? Why did I decide to eat this? And who is responsible for putting this much mustard on my hot dog? And it's simple. We don't know. See, Burger King, they try to, be as competitive as, McDonald's. But, yeah, basically, they try, but, not as good as McDonald's. So, unfortunately, I will have to give the point for burgers to McDonald's because, to be honest, McDonald's is much juicier and much more flavorful, and they will not overdose you with condiments and stuff. So, the first point goes to McDonald's. Now for the second point. Well, for the second thing. Fries. Which restaurant's fries are better? Burger King or McDonald's? Do I even have to explain? Well, I'm probably going to have to. But this point's going to go to McDonald's, and let me tell you why. McDonald's fries, either hot or cold, or when you heat them up in the microwave, they are still freaking delicious. How delicious? Really delicious. Because no matter if you get your McDonald's fries like piping hot or freezing cold or you heat them up in the microwave, they will still taste like life and stuff. Just beautiful, happy, and amazing. Now, Burger King's fries, just bland, cut up potatoes and stuff that, you put them in the, fry thing, the fry cup or whatever it's called, and you just take one bite, take it from the cup, take one bite, and you're like, needs more salt. That's the problem with Burger King. their fries are not very salted. Why? I don't know. Ask Burger King. So every time I go to Burger King and get a Whopper with fries, I ask them, can I also get some salt? Because usually they'll have salt on the counter or basically like salt in the like under the counter, or salt, over by the drink station. So if they don't have any salt over by like the drink station, I'll usually ask for salt, and they'll just, take some salt under the counter and give it to you. And that's what you should do. If you're getting Burger King fries, which I know some people like Burger King fries than, other restaurants' fries. But it's, it's just terrible with me. Like, I wish Burger King, doused them with, some salt when they, come out of the fryer and stuff. Because that's what McDonald's does. They put salt on that quick. They're like, hey, we gotta get this salt out. We gotta put these salts on, the fries. The fries need to get salted right here, right now. Let's go. Woo woo. And that's what they do. That's what McDonald's does. Once they come out of the fryer, put them in the cups, you salt them like zoom, super fast. And basically, they turn out pretty good. But, if you're getting Burger King fries, I highly recommend you put some salt on them. If you don't, you're going to have a terrible, terrible lunchtime. Or dinner time, depending on when you get your Burger King stuff. So, yeah. Obvious point goes to McDonald's for better tasting fries. So, obviously, Burger King is losing this battle already. They're down 2-0. So now it is time for the third one. Their soda. Basically, which restaurant's Coca-Cola is better? Burger King or McDonald's? Let's start with Burger King first this time. So sometimes when I go in to eat in a Burger King, just to eat in, I usually get, a drink, a beverage with my food, and it's basically Coca-Cola. And I basically, get the Coca-Cola from the fountain drink machine, and I take one sip of it, and I'm like, this is Coke? Like, seriously. It's like Coke. It's like Coca-Cola with, some kind of weird taste to it. I don't know what, but it somewhat doesn't taste like Coca-Cola. Like, you stop and think, and you're like, is this Coke? Are my taste buds failing me? Am I, just not, into Coca-Cola anymore? Like, what is going on? Well, I don't know what Burger King uses to, straight up deliver Coca-Cola, but it somehow doesn't taste like Coca-Cola to me. Especially when I eat a cheeseburger that's overloaded with mustard. I take a sip of Coca-Cola and I still taste mustard. It's like I still taste mustard and I still don't taste Coca-Cola. So it's like I'm drinking a mustard flavored Coca-Cola. Which I hope it doesn't get made, because that would be the worst Coca-Cola flavor to have ever be released on this earth. And I'm serious. If they ever make a mustard flavored Coca-Cola, that is just a doomsday scenario. Nope. That would be terrible. Extremely, extremely terrible. And that's just truth. But McDonald's Coca-Cola, oh my God. It tastes like you're actually drinking real Coca-Cola. So what McDonald's does is basically they modify their, fountain drink machine to give you the best possible Coca-Cola tasting experience. Thus, when you push for Coca-Cola, you'll get Coca-Cola. Like, you'll get like Coke if you were drinking out of a glass bottle. Like, that's what you're drinking. Like, you're drinking Coke out of a glass bottle. Now, they use some kind of device or some kind of part in the machine to actually, make the Coca-Cola taste, great. Tastes like, Coca-Cola. Especially with other drinks like, Coke Zero. It actually tastes like Coke Zero. Dr. Pepper, it tastes like amazing Dr. Pepper. And then Sprite, oh, everybody talks about the fountain drinking Sprite. The fountain drink Sprite, oh, it tastes like Sprite from the heavens, they say. And then when you go to Burger King, it tastes like meh. It tastes like meh. Because even though it tastes like, our favorite drinks, it just still tastes like meh. Meh, meh, meh. But, yeah. So, obviously, the point will go to McDonald's because they know what they're doing with their, their fountain drink machine, which is brilliant and also smart. Well, it's 3-0. It's clearly, we know who the winner is. It's McDonald's. Well, let's take a look at the last two things. And that's chicken nuggets. Which restaurant's chicken nuggets are better? McDonald's. They're crispy, juicy, tender. Even with, the honey mustard dipping sauce, it tastes delicious. Sometimes McNuggets are, But when you get the good stuff, like when you get it right out of the oven, like or right out of the fryer, perfect. It's like fireworks going off in your mouth, and it's like spectacular, epic, amazing, truly amazing, and down to earth. Seriously, it is. So yeah, it's pretty freaking good. And it tastes like, fireworks going off in your mouth. Now, Burger King, on the other hand, I don't know. It's just like, I'm eating chicken nuggets, but I don't know if it's good or is it bad. It's another one of those meh types of food. Like, you don't know whether it's, good or bad or whatever. You just go, meh, meh. Because that's what I feel like for the chicken nuggets at, Burger King. Now, honestly, I thought, Burger King be like a little bit in competition with McDonald's chicken nuggets. Well, technically chicken McNuggets, because they put the Mc before, the nuggets, so it's chicken McNuggets. But yeah, Burger King's chicken nuggets, they're not my type of favorite chicken nugget. If you were to rank the chicken nuggets from, like, the restaurants that have chicken nuggets, first would be McDonald's, second would be Chick-fil-A, third would be Wendy's, and fourth would be Burger King. Because those are the restaurants I've tasted their chicken nuggets. Now, I have not tasted KFC's chicken nuggets yet, but if there would be a time where I, you know, try, KFC's chicken nuggets, then maybe, just maybe, they'll be better than Burger King, but who knows? Who knows? But yeah, when you eat Burger King's chicken nuggets, they're like meh. They may be juicy, they may be crispy, because you're either gonna get juicy or crispy nuggets. It doesn't, you can't get both. You can't get crispy and you can't get juicy. So obviously you gotta get one or the other. But McDonald's, they're both juicy and crispy and tender. But with Burger King, you're either gonna get tender and juicy or tender and crispy. So that's why McDonald's obviously has the best chicken McNuggets, and thus they get the point for best chicken McNuggets or chicken nuggets, whatever. And also, if Dave Clark's watching this, you owe me a 20 piece, just because. Yeah, I think he still owes me a 20 piece. Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, Dave Clark owes me a 20 piece. So, yeah. But anyways, time for the final point. Which restaurant is better? McDonald's or Burger King? The answer is McDonald's, obviously. Why would I say Burger King? McDonald's has won all four, talking points, and then the final big point for 5 points, it's obviously McDonald's. McDonald's wins. Congratulations. Congratulations, you win. You win. Just straight up sweep against Burger King. So yeah, basically McDonald's gets this point because, tasty food, tasty drinks, tasty chicken McNuggets, tasty fries. Their cheeseburgers don't make you want to question what am I eating. Their quarter pounders with cheese are pretty good. Quarter pounder cheese with bacon, oh man, they're pretty good. I never tried the BK Bacon King, but I heard my dad liked it. It was pretty good. Said it was pretty good. But I have not tried it, so can't really, get a, thing out of it. So, can't really say anything about it. So, yeah. And then, basically, McDonald's has been on top of the fast food game for as long as they've been in business. I need to remind myself because McDonald's has been around in the 50s. I gotta check which year that was, which 50s year that was, because if I don't, obviously I'm gonna be looking like I don't know history and stuff. So let me check that real quick. So McDonald's was founded in 1940 by the McDonald's brothers. So yeah, McDonald's has been around for over 80 years, and obviously they're gonna win since they've been, dominating this freaking market for 80 years. So, yeah. Also, I don't know if Burger King has breakfast, but sub point, McDonald's breakfast is better. I've never tried Burger King breakfast before, but yeah, McDonald's breakfast is better if Burger King has a, breakfast menu. So just saying that because, I can and stuff. But yeah, just better everything for, McDonald's because, they're good at what they do. And right now, they are making over $23 billion. And it's no wonder because they serve billions everywhere. Not just millions, but billions. 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 But yeah. McDonald's is king. Give them the final point. They are the kings of fast food. Now, if you want me to talk about McDonald's versus Wendy's, that's going to be tough to talk about because, you know, I like both restaurants, but I don't know which one to go with. That's why I usually swap back and forth with McDonald's and Wendy's. If you want to see me talk about, you know, McDonald's versus Wendy's, basically this show gets, you know, if this show gets 5 likes, I may do McDonald's versus Wendy's. So like this video if you want to see me talk about McDonald's versus Wendy's and see who I think is the best. So yeah. Alright, so it is 12:25 right now, and we are going to take our first break, but when we come back, it's been almost a week since the NBA playoffs have been, you know, played. And it's time to see how everybody's doing after this week of NBA playoff action, so yeah. And we're also going to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, because they're still in the playoffs. So, obviously, we're going to talk about Cleveland. So, yeah, stick around, ladies and gentlemen, for this NBA playoff topic we are going to talk about after the break. So, stick around. You are listening to The Colton Rice Show exclusively on the Colton Rice Facebook page. We'll be right back. All right, we are back with the next topic of the Colton Rice Show here. And before we go on, this was a crazy discovery I made. So on my YouTube channel, which is obviously the same name as this YouTube page, Colton Rice, and also the @name for this YouTube channel is @Colton Rice Radio. I made an interesting discovery today. And that interesting discovery is that a 30-second this 30-second commercial I made about Chef Boyardee, which is a commercial I made back in March of 2020 for a class at Ohio Media School. That commercial has now reached, in 3 years, 23,000 views. That is insane. That a commercial I made for class at Ohio Media School reached 23,000 views. Like over 23,000 views. That is amazing. I don't know who's watched that video, but that is amazing. That is amazing. And wow. That is crazy. So, yeah. I didn't think that commercial would bring in 23,000 views, but it's whatever. It is whatever. Anything can get viral. Seriously. But it's semi-viral, but yeah, I'll take the 23,000 views. It's my highest viewed video on that channel, so yeah. And then everything is just, about like 10 or 5 views, but that's whatever. But yeah. But anyways, enough about talking about my YouTube channel for all this stuff. Especially when this episode gets uploaded tomorrow on my YouTube channel, because obviously I upload every single live show the next day after. So if you want to watch it again, you can watch it again on my YouTube channel. It's called Colton Rice. And if you can't find it with that, the @name is @Colton Rice Radio. Or you can just go into your search bar and type www.youtube.com/@Colton Rice Radio. That will work. That works too. So yeah. But anyways, time to move on with the NBA playoffs. It's pretty interesting. It is pretty interesting. So interesting that before I actually talk about the playoffs, I have some crazy breaking news for you. So 2 Lions players and 1 Commanders player have been suspended for the whole season, the whole NFL season, for gambling. But, Jameson Williams and another one of his teammates have been suspended for only 6 games for gambling. And if you don't know who Jameson Williams is, he was a former Ohio State Buckeye who transferred to Alabama. Don't know why, but he did. And now he's not going to be playing the first 6 games of the season because he gambled. And gambling is a big no-no in sports. That's why Pete Rose ain't in the Hall of Fame, because he gambled. Ha! So, if you want a Hall of Fame career, kids, do not gamble. You will ruin your life. Technically ruin your life, but you won't get into the Hall of Fame. You'll just be like, meh. And not like legendary. You'll just be meh. So yeah. Alright, now we can move on to the NBA playoffs. So, the NBA playoffs. Yeah, they're here, and they have shocked me, personally. I don't know if they shocked you, but they've shocked me. Because we got some interesting games going on here. So, the 76ers last night defeated the Nets to get a 3-0 lead in this series, which was pretty cool. Because I picked the 76ers to sweep the Nets, and it's working. But I somehow didn't think that the Warriors would win a game without Draymond Green. And somehow the Warriors had beat the Kings 114-97 last night. But then again, I thought I said that, the Warriors might win one game. I think I did. I think I said they would win either one game or 2 games, but I couldn't, I can't remember. I can't remember anything from last week. Don't judge me. But yeah. But one of my predictions for Coach of the Year was supposed to be Mike Brown. He actually won Coach of the Year, NBA Coach of the Year, unanimously, which, honestly, that unanimous vote was a well-deserved unanimous vote. Because Mike Brown, he went from being the Cavs coach to, getting fired, and then had to start from being an assistant coach again, and then finally getting to coach the Kings and, bringing them to the playoffs, and boom, getting a Pacific Division title, and, trying to get to the NBA championship now. Just like what he did with the Cavs back in 2007. 2007, yep. And the Suns finally break the tie against the Clippers, 129-124. And the Phoenix Suns have a 2-1 lead now over Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. Lots of interesting series here. Boston has a 2-0 lead over the Hawks, which I picked the Celtics to sweep the Hawks, and that's going well. Cavaliers currently tied with the Knicks in the series, and they're going to be in New York tonight at 8:30 to see who will be breaking that tie. I hope it's the Cavs, because if it's the Knicks, I'm going to go rage. Rage-o-rama. Technically. And then you got the Denver Nuggets and the Timberwolves. Denver Nuggets are doing what they should be, and that's sweeping the Timberwolves. Because the Timberwolves aren't really that good. And then on Saturday, I don't know what's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks, but it seems that they're going to be in a fight with the Heat. I thought they would sweep the Heat, but I guess not. And then the Grizzlies, I thought the Grizzlies were to handle the Lakers, but it seems the Lakers are like, nope, not going to happen. So, yeah, we got some crazy basketball games going on. And, it's getting interesting. It's getting very, very interesting. Like, you don't know if the Lakers will. When the Lakers won game one, I was like, what is Memphis doing? And now it's back in Los Angeles, so does that mean LeBron James is going to go off after Dylan Brooks called LeBron old and cheap? I don't know. It could happen. Like, LeBron could do some crazy Michael Jordan, I took that personally mentality and just drop 50 on, on the Grizzlies. Who knows? But, yeah. And what also shocks me is that the Clippers still are somehow having a pulse here. But, it's going to be interesting what they're going to do against the Suns tomorrow at 3:30. And then I think the 76ers are going to win Saturday, so they'll move on to the next round of the playoffs. So be prepared for the 76ers to win the final game of the series, which is tomorrow. As for the Heat and Bucks, if Giannis somehow doesn't, manage to control his back injury, because he did suffer a back injury, but if some way and somehow he can't, get back to 100%, the Heat might actually upset the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I'm not saying it will happen, I'm saying it might happen, which would be crazy. And if the Lakers somehow upset the Grizzlies, then yeah, it's going to be crazy. But I think the biggest upset here is if the Warriors, if the Golden State Warriors upset the Sacramento Kings, something's up. Like, something's up. Like, who in the... Excuse me. Excuse me. Ugh, I need a drink of water, which is why I brought some water. So, here we go. Water. Delicious. But, yeah. If the Warriors somehow upset the Kings, something's fishy around these parts. Don't know what's fishy, but it's fishy. Seriously. If the Warriors somehow come back and upset the Kings, something's wrong there. But, yeah. And then we got the NBA awards. They're somehow releasing NBA awards in like little timbits of stuff. So we already know Mike Brown's Coach of the Year, but there's other NBA awards that were released. So Sixth Man of the Year was Malcolm Brogdon of the Boston Celtics. And he actually was a former Rookie of the Year back in 2017. So, yeah. De'Aaron Fox was named Clutch Player of the Year. As you know, De'Aaron Fox, I think he used to play for Kentucky. I'm pretty sure. And then he got drafted by the Sacramento Kings. And it's no wonder he's Clutch Player of the Year, because he brought, he brought the Kings to the playoffs, obviously. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies was the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. led the leagues in blocks, and basically beat Evan Mobley for that award, which sucks. I wanted Evan Mobley to win. Like, Evan Mobley, he was pretty good on defense. But I guess the NBA just, like, didn't, vote for him. So, even though I wanted Evan Mobley to win, it's whatever. If an NBA championship happens now, everything will be all good. And then, most improved, we don't know who got most improved. I wish we found out who got most improved. But we do not. We don't know who got most improved. And we do not know who is MVP. But it looks like the MVP might be won by Jokic again. So that means we'll have a 3-in-a-row MVP winner that has won no NBA championships to his name. Now, I don't know why Jokic is winning all these MVPs. I don't know if it's some kind of stat thing or some kind of, thing for the Nuggets because the Nuggets haven't won anything because they're literally a bottom of the bin team. Like, they're a team that's always finishing last. But something has to be changed with how you vote for the MVP. Like, you can't have the same person win it that much. Like, if he wins it, next year, then obviously people are going to be up in arms about it and be like, hey, change how you vote for the MVP. It's getting annoying. Like, when Giannis Antetokounmpo won it back-to-back, we were obviously like, yeah, he deserved it. He was the best. But Jokic, he doesn't put up a lot of points. He puts up a lot of, defensive stats. Like, seriously. If you're going to name an MVP, you got to take into account points, assists, rebounds. Got to take in, every single stat you have. Especially free throws. Free throws are the most important thing in the game. Now, not a lot of people think that, free throws are important, but they are. They can determine who wins and who loses. And I've seen many instances of, people losing by not making free throws or, making free throws. But, it's just what happens. It's what happens. The NBA just, picks who wins. Just let the fans, pick who wins. Which, they should add a fan vote. If you think about it, the fans should also decide who wins MVP. And then add, the NBA vote or whoever votes for the NBA MVP. And then, boom, you have your winner. And basically, that will stop, some player from winning it, maybe 5 times in a row, 10 times in a row, 20 times in a row, infinity times in a row, which it might happen because Jokic just doesn't stop for some reason. Unless, and this is a big unless, he gets on the cover of NBA 2K next year. If he gets on the cover, it's over, folks. He's not going to win MVP because the cover curse is real. You want to know how real it is? Simple. When LeBron James was on the cover of NBA 2K14, He went back to Cleveland. When Kevin Durant was on the cover of 2K15, he went to the Golden State Warriors. When Stephen Curry was on the cover, he lost the NBA Finals to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that was pretty cool. Paul George. He basically went to Los Angeles Clippers. Then 2018, when Kyrie Irving was announced as the cover athlete, he was wearing his Cavs uniform, and then he decided, you know what, I want to trade. Bye-bye. Thus, he went to the Celtics, and then they got him in a Celtics jersey. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo was on the cover of NBA 2K18. And nothing happened, I'm pretty sure. Wait, let me double check to make sure he was on the cover of it. NBA 2K18, because I think that was... Yeah, that was Kyrie. 2K19 is when Giannis Antetokounmpo was on there. And Giannis, I think he won MVP, but he did not win the championship. That's why he got cursed. He won MVP but didn't win the championship. That's his curse. And then NBA 2K20, that wasn't even really a curse. Somehow the Lakers won the championship with Anthony Davis on the cover. That wasn't a curse, so obviously it's confusing. 2K21. Who was on 2K21's cover? Damian Lillard was on the cover of 2K21. And what happened? Oh, wait. Two. Oh, there was two because the Xbox and Xbox. So, yeah. So, there were two cover athletes, Damian Lillard and Zion Williamson, because there were two systems for the next gen and the previous gen. So Damian Lillard was on the cover of the Xbox One and PS4 covers, while Zion Williamson was on the Xbox Series S and X cover, as well as the PS5 cover. So yeah, that's that. And then 2K22 cover athlete was Luka Doncic. And basically those guys got cursed because I think they didn't make the playoffs or they just didn't do well. But yeah, cover curses are real, and Devin Booker was on the cover of 2K23 this year. So I think this cover curse, he doesn't win the championship. I think he's probably going to get eliminated either second round or maybe the first round. He may get eliminated the first round because, the Clippers, they got Kawhi Leonard, they got Paul George, they got Russell Westbrook. Anything can happen. So, yeah. But, yeah, the NBA playoffs are still on. They're still continuing, and I hope that the Cavaliers win, because if they don't, I'm going to be sad, crying like a baby. Probably never going to watch basketball again because it ruined my feelings. Well, technically, hurt my feelings is the correct choice of words. But yeah, it'll just hurt my feelings. Straight up hurt my feelings. So yeah. Oh, I forgot. Oh yeah, Mike Brown was coach of the year as the Cavs coach, I'm pretty sure. Because it says here on NBA 2K's Twitter that he's a 2-time coach of the year. So I'm guessing that's with Cleveland? I'm pretty sure. Because I'm pretty sure he won coach of the year with the Cavs. Yep, with the Cavs, 2009. So it's been 14 years since he won Coach of the Year. So good for him. Good for him. And now he's got a chance to lead the Sacramento Kings to an NBA championship, which he should do, because he's coached so many teams to the NBA Finals. He's coached Cavs to like one NBA Finals, and then coached the Golden State Warriors as an assistant coach to multiple titles, as well as he also assistant coached the Spurs to an NBA title. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, he knows his way around the NBA playoffs. So anything can happen. And NBA basketball's on tonight. As you know, Cavaliers play tonight on ABC, 8:30. Let me check the other games that are on tonight. No, not the NFL. I need the NBA. Here we go. Then we have Celtics and Hawks, which is the first game at 7 on ESPN. And then after the Cavs game is going to be the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves at 9:30 on ESPN. Then tomorrow it's going to be 76ers Nets on TNT at 1. Suns and Clippers at 3:30 on TNT. Bucks and the Heat tomorrow night 7:30 on ESPN, and then Lakers Grizzlies at 10 p.m. on ESPN. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow's games. So yeah, a lot of basketball to be played, and hopefully it's entertaining. So, time for us to take our second break. But when we come back, it's time to talk about NASCAR. It's been a while since I talked about NASCAR, but god dang it, it's going to be about Talladega Superspeedway. And oh boy, it is going to be fun because I get to watch the race Sunday. Yay, I get to watch Talladega Sunday. I can't wait for it because it's a big super speedway. So yeah, stick around for that. You're listening to the Colton Rice Show exclusively on the Colton Rice Facebook page. So yeah, stick around. We'll be right back. And we are back with more of the Colton Rice Show. It's the second half of the show now. And now it is time to talk about Talladega. Ooh boy. Talladega Superspeedway. I have been waiting for this. Why? Because it's a very excuse me. It's a very unique racetrack. How unique is it? It's so unique that it has produced some of the craziest crashes in all of NASCAR. Seriously. And I think it's only had one fatality, but I'm not sure. But that one fatality was Tiny Lund back in the 70s. He got into a crash and basically he lost his life there. But I may be wrong. He may not be that lone fatality. But I'm pretty sure there's been a bunch of injuries, but I don't think there have been that many fatalities. So yeah, Talladega had 2 fatalities. So Tiny Lund was one of them. What was the other one? That's the biggest question. Larry Smith back in 1973 when it was called the Alabama International Motor Speedway. Really? Talladega was called the Alabama International Motor Speedway? Huh. Did not know that, and then they renamed it to Talladega. 1989 is when they called it Talladega. So from 1969 to 1989, it was called the Alabama International Motor Speedway. But now, it's called Talladega Superspeedway. And it is pretty big. It's pretty big. And also, the start-finish line is miles from a couple of yards from the middle of the grandstands. So, yeah. That's why it's so unique. It's a super speedway, but the finish line is like very near turn 1. And also, it's also known since it was technically built on an Indian burial ground. It's known for being cursed a little bit. Like, Larry Smith died, and then obviously, Tiny Lund died at Talladega Superspeedway. And then Bobby Isaac basically quit racing after, racing at Talladega. And then years later, he died of a heart attack. That's crazy. And sadly, during the 1975 Winston 500 at Talladega, Richard Petty's brother-in-law, Randy Owens, who was a member of Richard Petty's crew team, he passed away at Talladega after an air tank exploded. And that was pretty sad. Davey Allison, he was supposed to race at the 1993 spring race at Talladega, but unfortunately the helicopter he was piloting flipped upside down and he crashed it, and basically he was rushed to a hospital where he died of his injuries, which is pretty sad. And there were a lot of, crazy stuff happening at Talladega, especially when Automobile Racing Club of America president Bob Loga died after a traffic accident in the parking lot. So yeah, basically the president of the Automobile Racing Club died after, an accident in the parking lot. And that just tells you that, yeah, Talladega might be cursed. But we still, race there. We still race at Talladega. Why? Because it's fun to watch. For some reason. And here are some of the records at Talladega. The person with the most wins at Talladega was, obviously, Dale Earnhardt Sr. Most consecutive wins was Dale Earnhardt Jr., of course. Most top 5s and most top 10s went to Dale Sr. Most starts, Dave Marcus and Terry Labonte with 61. The driver of the most poles was Bill Elliott with 8. One of them where he cracked 212 miles per hour at Talladega. Excuse me. And that was in 1987. It's also the year that Bobby Allison, he was driving his car, and basically what happened, he blew a tire, his car sailed into the catch fencing, and basically destroyed his car, and he was okay, but after that crash, he was like, yeah, I'm done with racing, I quit. So yeah, The most laps completed at Talladega, Michael Waltrip. He completed the most laps at Talladega, which is crazy. You never know who, would complete the most laps at Talladega. And surprisingly, it's Michael Waltrip with 10,181. Most laps led was Dale Earnhardt Sr. Average start was Davey Allison with 5.3 as the average start. And then for the high average finish is Dale Earnhardt with 12.4. So, and these are records as of 2019. Don't know if there's any updated records. I need to know if you know there are updated records. So, yeah, if there's an update to these records, please let me know, and I will correct myself on the air. So yeah, there's a bunch of interesting stuff at Talladega, especially this one crash I saw was at Talladega. It was Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski racing to the finish, and Keselowski turned Edwards and he flew into the catch fencing. I was like, whoa, that is so interesting and cool for some reason, because Talladega is one of my favorites, racetracks to watch NASCAR. Almost like Talladega and Bristol and Martinsville. They're super, super fun and super interesting. And yeah, it's fun to watch them. So, there's been a lot of first-time winners here at Talladega, like Richard Brickhouse, Dick Brooks, Lenny Pond, Ron Bouchard, Bobby Hillin Jr., Davey Allison, Phil Parsons, Ken Schrader, Brian Vickers, Brad Keselowski, who I just said turned Carl Edwards into the air, into the catch fencing to get his first ever Cup win, which is crazy. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Bubba Wallace. So yeah, if you didn't know, Bubba Wallace, he won a NASCAR race at Talladega. And that was his first ever Cup race win. And that was in 2021. In the Yellowwood 500. He won his first race at Talladega. And you want to know how he won that race? He was in first at the time, and then the rain started pouring. And then NASCAR said, you know what? It's not going to stop. We're calling the race. Bubba Wallace wins. And that was pretty cool, seeing Bubba Wallace win. He became the second African-American driver to win a Cup race. The first African-American driver to win was I'm trying to remember his name. Who was it? Oh. It's on the tip of my tongue. Like, who is it? Man, my brain is just farting on me. Why? Seriously, I should know this. Who was it? Who was it? Come on. Wendell Scott, that's it. Wendell Scott. He was the first African American driver who won a NASCAR race. And then Bubba Wallace became the second African American driver to win a NASCAR race. And it's awesome to see, diversity in NASCAR. Like, there should always be diversity in NASCAR. Like, everybody should be included in, sports. No matter on race, color, gender, everybody should be included. Everybody should be included. And fun fact, Bubba Wallace actually has another Cup win. He won at Kansas last season. But right now he's winless currently. But that'll change later, and probably maybe this Sunday he might win. who knows? Anything can happen. And there have been a lot of winners at Talladega. A lot of cool and well-known winners. Like Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski, Matt Kenseth. Don't know if Tony Stewart won at Talladega, but who knows. But the most important thing that everybody braces themselves for is the big one, which is the biggest crash in all of racing. There have been a lot of big ones in NASCAR. Especially, I remember watching this one NASCAR crash back in 2002, even though I was technically like a couple months old. It was in April, so 11 months old. But you're probably like, how were you able to watch the race? And remember, you were 11 months old. That's why we have YouTube to watch these old races. So I was watching an old race. It was the Aaron's 312, which is a NASCAR Busch Series race. Now it's called the Xfinity Series. And I remember this. So all these cars were coming off turn 2, and all of a sudden they start wrecking. Like nearly almost 2/3 of the field, or maybe more than that, probably like, I don't know, 8/9 of the field, like completely gone. Like probably 30 cars involved in this wreck. I'm like, oh boy, that's some wreck right there. Like seriously, it is one of the biggest crashes at Talladega ever. And then the next day, a bunch of cars get into a big one for the Cup Series, but not as big as the Busch Series race. If you want to see a car with no cars left, like a car race with no cars left, watch the 2002 Aaron's 312. You will be amazed about how many cars are left on the track, because there's like nothing left on the track, because they just go boom, crash, bang, boom, wow, woo, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, wow. Seriously. A lot of cars crash because one bump and we're off to the big one. Bang, boom, wow, kablam, sparkle, something like that. In some cases, some cars go airborne, just like when Carl Edwards went airborne, or that 2 car in that 2002 race, went airborne, barreled multiple times. Like seriously, Talladega is like the crash capital of the world. And I say they're the crash capital of the world because they're known for the most wrecks in any sport, like any racing, league, like NASCAR. Well, obviously it's NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, F2, any other racing, group, like Talladega. They have the most wrecks. Now, if we get an F1 race at Talladega, just no. F1 or IndyCar race at Talladega is impossible, especially at Daytona. You want to know why? There will be so many crashes that everyone's like, whoa, this is too much. Because an F1 car and a IndyCar racing car, they are lightweight. They are super lightweight, and they will break easily. And for like a NASCAR stock car, they are heavy and much less easy to break than an Indy car, but still, You get that car up in the air, it will take off like a paperweight or a piece of paper. Who knows? But still, if there was ever an open wheel sprint car race at Talladega or Daytona, it would be a bad idea. Because, seriously, Indy cars are way less safe. Like, Indy cars and F1 cars are way less safe than NASCARs. NASCAR stock cars are way much safer than the open-wheeled sprint cars, because if you were to drive an open-wheeled sprint car, your chances of getting seriously injured or possibly death go straight up, like way, way up. But if you drive a sanctioned stock car from NASCAR, your chances of dying or getting seriously injured are extremely low because of the safety protocols they took since the death of Dale Earnhardt with the Hans device and all that stuff, and the car tomorrow and all that stuff. Basically, NASCAR took its safety like their safety seriously after the death of Dale Earnhardt, because when he died, basically everyone just went. They were speechless. So everyone, decided to make NASCAR more safe with more safety implements with the Hans, the car tomorrow, the 6th gen cars, and now the 7th gen cars. So everything should be safe right now. And if you're driving an Indy car or F1 car, you should switch to NASCAR. It's much more safe. But we'll still watch F1 and IndyCar, even though it's a little bit more dangerous than NASCAR. Because we're racing fans. We love watching competitive racing and watching, drivers drive around in an oval. And it's an oval, not a circle. If you say it's a circle, you're incorrect. It's an oval. But anyways, time for my picks for this upcoming Talladega race, which is the Geico 500. So, the Geico 500, it used to be called the Aaron's 499, but Aaron's, they're somewhat not relevant anymore. So now Geico stepped in. So, the Geico 500 at Talladega. Here are my top 3 drivers to win and why. So, number 1 is going to be Ross Chastain. Now you're probably like, why? Well, he won last year out of nowhere. He's bound to make a comeback. Well, he's bound to win it again, and thus getting into the playoffs again. Because why? He's Ross Chastain. Even though he's already got like a win and stuff, I'm pretty sure he's already... Didn't he already get a win? I'm pretty sure he got a win. Didn't he win this year? I'm double checking my work because I know he won last year. Did he win this year? Okay, so he hasn't won. He hasn't had a win this year. Well, this season. But I think Talladega is when he's bound to win. So he's been close. He's gotten like 3 top 5 finishes already, so I think Talladega, he'll probably win. He'll probably win at Talladega and, be like, yo, I'm back. I'm also now in the playoffs. And yeah, NASCAR's got a playoff system, if you didn't know that. They do have a playoff system. Second driver I think is going to win the race, Ryan Blaney. He's won Talladega before. He's bound to win Talladega again. And it's about time because he needs to get into the playoffs. I don't think he has a win either. So, Ryan Blaney, do not underestimate his powers to win. Because even though he's got no wins this season, he came close at Phoenix, but he lost. But don't worry, he will possibly bounce back at Talladega with a win. And then my third pick to win would be Bubba Wallace, because he has done extremely well on the super speedway tracks, and I would see Bubba Wallace as a definite, sleeper here, because Bubba Wallace could come out of nowhere, pass a bunch of cars, and win the race, because it's Bubba Wallace, people. He is literally, he's literally known how to drive ever since he's done, like, the Craftsman Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, Cup Series, He's got that talent, and he has the talent to win Talladega again. But this time with no rain, because obviously it's going to be super sunny in Alabama, and yeah, he's going to win. So those are my three picks: Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, possibly to win Talladega. If they don't win, well, guess I was incorrect. I was incorrect for many, many times and stuff, but oh well. So yeah. Alright, now it's time to go to our third break, but when we come back, orange construction barrels around Columbus, why are they there? And we'll talk about those right after this break, so stick around. You're listening to the Colton Rice Show exclusively on the Colton Rice Facebook page. We'll be right back. Alright, we are back with more of the Colton Rice Show. And now for our final topic today. Those darn construction barrels. Orange construction barrels around Columbus. They're everywhere. They're on Cleveland Avenue. They're on Schrock Road. They're on Carl Road. They're on every road that you could think of in this city. They're everywhere in Columbus, Ohio. Why? I don't know. But it's annoying. Seriously. It's so annoying that it has led my own mother to cuss out the city of Columbus and all the drivers there. Why? I don't know. She just hates these orange construction barrels. She also doesn't like how the drivers are commuting through the orange construction barrels. She's going, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And she's going crazy, and she's like literally, saying curse word this, curse word that, curse word this person, curse word. She's doing like 7 curse words an hour here, or 7 curse words a second. Like, seriously, she's got the biggest potty mouth when road raging. So, yeah, these orange construction barrels, I don't know who in the city of Columbus decided, hey, let's go reconstruct some stuff. And thus, we have this. We've got orange construction barrels closing one lane and, just making the other lane just completely, congested and just, too much congestion. And it's going to lead to, somebody raging and somebody possibly raging so hard that they possibly pull out a melee weapon or an automatic weapon and, just go raging and stuff. It might lead to that, but probably not. But just like, it'll lead to a bunch of road rage incidents, probably lead to some accidents and probably some fights, probably, crazy stuff happening, but who knows. Yeah, these orange construction barrels are not what we wanted. I don't know if it was the mayor or if it was city council or whoever ordered the redoing of the roads and stuff. I don't know who did that. But whoever planned this just picked the wrong time to do it, because there's construction on one side of the city, and then on the other side you got more construction, and then on the side below it you got more construction. We're looking like Cleveland when they had a bunch of construction projects. I think it was back in like 2009. Yeah, 2008 or 2009. It was when this guy made this Cleveland tourism video part 2, where he says, "We've been under construction since 1868. I'm like, wow. And that reminded me, we might be under construction for a long time. Under construction since, well, whenever Columbus was founded as the city of Columbus, probably 1812. Yeah, it was 1812. Under construction since 1812. We've been under construction longer than Cleveland because, I don't know. So, these construction barrels are going to cause so many backups. So many backups and so many, crashes, road rage incidents, and other things that, it just might seem to look like a bad idea. A bad idea, which will lead to probably an even worser idea, which will probably even lead to a much more worse idea, and then, who knows, it might lead to like something like, I don't know, more road rage, because a while ago, the Ohio State Highway Patrol guys, they say, hey, everybody, we need to calm down with the road rage and stuff. We need to, not get into any road rage incidents. We don't need to be pulling out guns on people because of road rage and start shooting crazy. Well, that's not going to happen as long as the city of Columbus is constructing on the roads. And since that's happening, there's gonna be so much road rage. Yeah, it's gonna go popping off like a crazy party. Yeah, a crazy party. A crazy party that goes wrong, and truly we must be all scared now. Because that's what's gonna happen. I try to give some props to, the Ohio Highway Patrol guy for saying, hey, we all need to calm down on our road rage, but that's not going to happen, dude, because, there's going to be road rage everywhere, especially if there's any orange construction barrels or construction cones all over the freaking street. And seriously, this has led to multiple, this is going to lead to multiple road rage incidents, and it's possibly going to lead to some accidents, probably some minor injuries or some serious injuries. We don't know who started this crazy, construction palooza, but it might have to do something with the city council or the mayor. Who knows? We do not know. We do not know who started them. And honestly, we do not care who started them. We just want it to stop. Like, seriously. What is wrong with Cleveland Avenue? Like, there's like nothing wrong with it, right? Right? Car Road, nothing wrong with it. Maple Canyon Avenue, nothing wrong with it. What is so wrong with these roads? Is it because that there's like one tiny crack in the road? Dude, there's cracks in the roads everywhere! They're everywhere! But, City of Columbus, they don't care. They just like, oh, crack in the road. We need to fix it. Do. Oh, a piece of chunk of the road is off. We need to fix it. Do. Like, bro, this is not what we signed up for. If you're going to reconstruct something, reconstruct it when it's, when there's like no traffic. Reconstruct it when it's like no traffic at all, and then blah, blah, blah. Do whatever you do, blah, blah, blah. See, there needs to be something faster than this construction going on. We need something faster. If we get like a bunch of construction workers that'll work overnight and basically, fix up the road, basically, quick as possible, good. But since you got nobody working over the night, into like the next morning, you're basically, excuse me, I had to yawn. You're basically saying, oh, we don't care if you're late to your job. We don't care if you're late to a party. We don't care if you're late to anywhere, because we overrule you, and we do not care if you get fired, because we were hired to do the job we were supposed to do. That is a you problem for losing your job, not an our problem. Because we're so superior than you. And more important to the mayor and city council than you. That's basically what is going on here. Like, the city council and the mayor's office, does not give a crap about the citizens who are trying to go to work every day and every morning without, getting into, stupid construction. Construction is just useless. Construction gets people injured. Construction leads to road rage. And construction takes a long time. It takes a long time because you never know when it's going to be finished. It might be finished next year. It might be finished in 2 years. It might be finished within a month. It might be finished in several months. It might be finished even in 2045. Yeah, I'm dead serious. They could finish it in 2045, and there's going to be Rage-a-rama every year that's going to lead everybody who's raging to just rage so hard that they literally tear up all the work that the construction workers are doing, and therefore they had to redo it along with another redo, because when they get done, they'll probably redo it again, because who knows, it's everywhere. And even though I do not drive, yes, I say I do not drive because I don't have a license. Why don't I have a license? I don't know. I do not know. But I can see it from the passenger's point of view. It's going to annoy the drivers. And since it's annoying the drivers, it's going to annoy me. Because I got stuff to do. I want to go do stuff without being late. And, what if I wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese? There's a Chuck E. Cheese at Easton, and there's construction everywhere. And, when I finally get to the Chuck E. Cheese, they're like, oh, sorry, we're closed. I started my drive at 5 p.m., and then I get there at 9 p.m. and they're closed. I'm like, God dang you, construction, why are you here? Ah! Like, seriously. Construction on the roadways is annoying. It's very, very annoying. But if it was a highway, which I clearly don't care, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't care because they don't take the highway, they can it's fine with us. Just redo the highways. Don't freaking do the main roads. Redo the highways. And also, they're doing construction in my neighborhood, trying to repave the roads. Like, dudes, there's so many cars in the middle of the road, you probably won't be able to repave. Unless you just flip their cars over, which, again, they're probably not going to like that. They're probably not going to like you flipping their cars, but you should just say, since you're doing construction, you're in our way, we don't care if your car gets flipped. You're going to be paying the insurance company or whatever. You're going to be paying it and stuff. And also, your yard just scratched my boot. You're also going to pay for that. Because, again, construction workers do not care. They're hired by the city or hired by the government to fix the roads, the parks, anything, so that people can, use them. Excuse me. And they do not care if you fall down in a hole. Like if the construction workers, open up a hole and you fall in it and probably, fracture your ankle. You're like, you fractured my ankle. They're gonna be like, we do not care. We simply do not care. We're just doing what the city or the state, the national government telling us to do. So shouldn't that lead to lawsuits for city, state, local, national governments? Because if you were to get injured in these construction areas, shouldn't the government should be paying for that? Say I stepped on a nail that one of the construction workers hired by the government, hired by the state, local, or federal governments, I step on one of their nails that they placed, and I'm like, I got tetanus now. And they're like, we don't care. We don't care. Shouldn't that lead to a lawsuit for damages? I'm no law expert, but I think the government should be, paying for all these damages for mental health and, physical health. Seriously. Road rage is a mental health problem, and I think the government should be, paying up. State, local, federal should be paying up for, all this construction, making people lose their insanity because of it, and it's considered to be a mental health problem. I mean, seriously, it is frustrating. It makes you frustrated, anxious, stressed out. It's obviously affecting people's mental health. So the government should be paying you for your stuff that's going on. Seriously, they should be paying up for all of the things that are going on with the stuff that's happening to you. The stress of the construction. Seriously, local and federal government should be paying for your mental well-being. Seriously. If your mental well-being is being attacked by these construction workers, making you road rage and making you anxious, stressed out, or anything, they should be paying you. Because why? Because god dang it, mental health is important. It's very important. And, excuse me, I need a drink of water. So yeah, mental health is very important, and the government should be paying you for the stuff that's going on with these construction things. It's very important because, it stresses everybody out. Construction stresses everybody out. Especially if you're constructing something on your house. It stresses you out. And therefore, the government should compensate you for that. In my opinion. It's my own opinion. You probably have other opinions, but who knows? Don't know when it's going to end, but Hopefully soon, but probably not. Just because, those construction barrels and the construction takes long stuff to do. Very, very long stuff to do. But yeah. Either way, it's still happening. But that's it for me talking about that stupid construction crap. It's now time for me to take my final break. But when we come back, the fumble of the week. We got a fumble of the week for you. So stick around for that. You're listening to The Colton Rice Show exclusively on the Colton Rice Facebook page. We'll be right back. Alright, we are back with the fumble of the week. Yeah, we got a fumble of the week. It's time we do the fumble of the week because I don't know. It's whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the fumble of the week.
Ah, crap!
Today's fumble of the week, or this week's fumble of the week, is to those orange construction barrels in basically the city of Columbus for constructing stuff. So yeah, the city of Columbus gets the fumble of the week for all this construction that's going on because, honestly, there's so much construction going on that I can't even sleep at night. Well, I can sleep at night, but I don't think the rest of Columbus can sleep at night, knowing that there's construction going on, and it's getting very, 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 very annoying that this construction's going on, and we do not know why it's going on, but it happens. It happens, and there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do to, ask our state and local governments to say, hey, stop it, please. It's not helping anybody. But they're like, nah, we're good. So that happens. That happens, and we just had to deal with it. So, yeah. We had to deal with it just because, it's they're the higher ups. We can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. So yeah. But yeah, that's the fumble of the week. To those orange construction barrels and the city of Columbus for ordering the construction on all these roads. Congratulations, Columbus, city of Columbus. You have made a lot of people stressed out, angry, and other stuff. So, yeah. Congrats, guys. Congrats on getting fumbled the week. You really deserve this award. But, yeah. Fumble the week, City of Columbus. Alright, guys. So, it's almost 2 p.m., which means the show's over. Yep. The show's over for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Next week, gonna try and find some 4 new topics to talk about, and we will talk about them on the air. If not, then I'll let you know if I won't be able to do a show this week. But hopefully, there's some interesting topics to talk about, and yeah, hopefully everybody will be entertained by those topics that I pick for next week, or there's probably no topics next week. Maybe I'll just take the day off. Who knows? But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Lots of interesting stuff happening this weekend. Gonna watch some basketball. Gonna watch some NASCAR. It's gonna be great. So yeah. So we'll see if I have a show next week or not. Also, if you want to be notified to see if there's a show next week, please like and follow the Colton Rice Facebook page, which is the page that I do the show on every week. So yeah, if you want to stay up to date on everything. Follow me on this page. You can also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Colton Rice 01. That's the @ name. And yeah, that's basically it. So, time for me to get out of here. So thank you all again for tuning in to watching the show. And I will see you guys maybe next week or maybe not. Who knows? But yeah. So with that, guys, that's it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys probably next week. So yeah, see you guys later.
Disappointed.